So don't hold me to this because there is a chance this could be a normal length episode, but ideally it won't be because this video wasn't originally planned. Today's video was supposed to be something hockey related, but non-NHL 20 related, and ultimately I ended up scrapping that video for something bigger and better that will come out down the road. I know, very cryptic. You'll find it eventually. So this video, of course, as it is, it was going to be a big episode for us because we have to move players off of this team. That's pretty much what this video is going to be, is us sorting out what this roster is. Now, first and foremost, we got very wrapped up in the moment in the last episode at the draft because, let's be honest, there was a lot going on. I mean, the option to trade Grundstrom and Glebov and the decision to ultimately do none of that, whether or not that was the right choice or not, I don't know. Obviously, we'll continue to find that out. But I didn't get rid of the player or pick that I was supposed to. And ultimately, because of that, I am going to have to pay the price. We are going to get rid of a draft pick. We failed 2 challenges last year, so the second round pick's gone. I'm also going to add our own 4th round pick to that, and a 7th. And who is listed as a rebuilder? Chicago, Columbus. Who else do we have here? Montreal. You know what? I'll help out Montreal because that'll be painful to me. We'll swap 7ths with them. So basically they get a free 2nd and 4th round pick. That's my punishment. The 2nd, of course, for failing 2 challenges last year. The 4th round pick is my punishment for not getting rid of the pick or players when I was supposed to. So there you go. That deal is done. So there is my punishment there. Next up is figuring out who the hell stays and who the hell goes. And it's pretty simple and pretty straightforward. I've been using the trade finder to get rid of players, and that's what we're going to do. So if there's not a trade for somebody, that means they have to stay. So we'll see, kind of by default, who ends up staying on this team. Now, when it comes to goaltending, at least for this season, we're going to stick with Hart and Glebov. The important thing that we're going to check once we get these trades done is whether or not Carter Hart wants to re-sign. If he does, we try to get that deal done and dusted. And then with Glebov, we figure out what happens. Again, he's listed as a backup for this season, so we can keep him up until the point where he goes to a starter, and then we'd have to choose between the two of them. But if Carter Hart isn't willing to re-sign here, we're going to trade him this season, and Glebov's the guy. And that's why I was afraid to get rid of Glebov. Because, you know, Hart is an RFA, so I'm going to assume, or presume even, that he is likely to stay. But if he's only looking for a 1 or 2 year deal, it's probably worth re-signing him and then looking to trade him. Like, I know, you know, you look at Glebov's trade value, we could have traded up for a pick, I believe, in the top 5 with him, and obviously we would have gotten someone on full value bar, but the value of Glebov for us as a safety net, as opposed to potentially, you know, just relying on Carter Hart, and then if we were to lose Carter Hart, his value is worth a hell of a lot more to us as a team because of these rules than it would be to get another full value, you know, trade value player, for lack of a better term. Defensively, we're good to go for the moment. I mean, I do ideally need to move somebody because we just have too many players signed right now. If I can move Austin Strand, not that I want to move him, but if I can get something for anybody who's currently under contract, that would be great. Montgomery was just outright medium 7th, right? Can I get anything for him? No. Can I get anything for Moverare, whose name I still don't think I'm pronouncing correctly? No, I cannot. Anybody else? Can I get something for Sean Dursey? No, I can't. Okay, so we might be stuck with way too many defensemen, is what it's looking like. Okay. Duly noted. So then we get to the forwards, and here's the situation. Turcotte, staying. Genther, Savoy, staying. Alex Iafallo has to stay. Again, he has a no movement clause. That was the risk. 3 out of 6 years. We can't trade him until next year. So he's a part of this team. Moving forward, there's just no doubt about it. Will he eventually be replaced by someone like Kip Powell? Probably. I mean, I think Kip's the built-in replacement because of who we're going to lose today. The 4th line is secure. Wagner, Amadio, Luff. Which means we have 5 spots for, I believe, 8 players. Kopitar, Grundstrom, Jared Anderson-Dolan, Kupari, Thomas, Velardi, Kaliyev, and Tyler Madden, who in my opinion is going to be a high enough overall that it's not worth keeping him in the AHL. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to sort this one out. So the first question is with Carl Grundstrom, are there trade offers? And if there is, then we know, okay, he's not safe. And there's only one trade offer, and it's for Alex Pietrangelo, which there's no way I'm doing that. So I think for the moment, Carl Grundstrom's safe. He has to be. I like Pietrangelo, but he's 33 years old. So for the moment, Grundstrom, yeah, we should have traded him at the draft. I screwed up. We absolutely should have traded him at the draft. But for now, I mean, his trade value is still there. Maybe we move him later on in the season if we're struggling. But for now, Grundstrom's on this team. So that leaves us with 4 spots. We go to the rest of our forwards again. Turcotte, Savoy, Genther, Grundstrom, all safe. Obviously, we're not going to get rid of Kip Pau. You follow safe. So that brings us to Rasmus Kupari. There are offers, or at least an offer from the looks of it. Loading. Brent Burns. Oh, my God. So I think Rasmus Kupari is safe as well from the looks of it, if that's what's out there. I mean, again, this is kind of the easy way to decide. We said in the rules, like, okay, you got to move someone. If I end up having to move somebody else, then it is what it is. But Jared Anderson-Dolan, if that's his real trade value, obviously we screwed up. But just to look at what we could potentially get for him. TJ Brody in a third, Adam Henrique, Radulov, Zuccarello, or Burns. Oh, my God. We are running out of preferable trade destinations here, aren't we? That's a problem because in theory we have 2 spots left, and this way to figure out who stays and who goes is backfiring. Anze Kopitar. Can we get a trade offer for you? Spinning wheels, spinning wheels, spinning wheel. No trade offers for Kopitar. Oh my God. This might not work. So I literally might have to just find these trades on my own because obviously otherwise we don't have a way to get rid of people. So Van Kadishin. Kaliyev. Obviously I'd like to hold on to you, but I mean, damn. Is there anything for you? Is the question. Obviously Velardi's next. Okay, so a ton of offers for Kaliyev. Hinostroza, 2 seconds. Now, here's the thing. I think initially in the rules it said, like, if I were to go for a trade, I can only get 1 pick back. But if the AI offers me more than 1 pick, we're going to call it good for the sake of simplicity. So right now we're looking at someone like Rikus, Mercer. So 2 seconds, or from the looks of it, first and a third from Colorado. Right, second and a third. So it looks like we can pick up seconds and a good prospect. We could pick up a first from the looks of it as well. So we have options with Kaliyev, noted defenseman Nick Robertson. Not that I want to get rid of Kaliyev, but if we go with that method, he's the first one out. So we'll keep that in mind. What about Gabe Velarde? What about Velarde? Is there anything here for him in terms of trade offers? Because the problem is, too, I agree with a lot of the comments. There's offers for Velarde, too, involving draft picks. There are some people like, okay, give up on Kupari, give up on Anderson-Dolan, give up on Velarde, give up on Akil Thomas, and I don't necessarily disagree. A lot of conversation, of course, about, hey, what to do with Kopitar, too, right? So, and I don't, again, necessarily disagree. But right now, Kaliyev and Velarde could be moved. What about Tyler Madden, who technically could be our healthy scratch? There's no move for Madden. What about Akil Thomas, who we tried like hell to develop last year? Is there a move for Thomas? There is. So if we go off of the rule of me having to use the trade finder, Thomas, Velarde, and Kaliyev are out. And that means Turcotte, you'll follow Grundstrom, Genther, Savoy, Kupari, Anderson-Dolan, Kopitar, and Madden are safe. And I think that's what we're looking at, chat. I'm on Twitch. So much streaming. You know what? No, I'm not going to edit that out. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's a Freudian slip, but it'll stay. It'll stay. To my beautiful comment section, it'll stay. So that is the situation at hand. I think Thomas, Velardi, and Kaliyev are out just off of the limitations that we put into this series as far as like, hey, try to use the trade finder, which wasn't a thing last year. So 2 third-rounders. You could argue now, was it worth keeping Akil Thomas over Trevor Moore last year? I don't know if it was. But right now, 2 third-round picks looks to be about as good as we're going to get for him, which is tragic, or we can get noted defenseman Nick Robertson. Problem is I don't know how good Robertson is. At this point, I don't know what his potential is, if he would have gotten better in Toronto or not. Let's take a look at him. Otherwise, it looks like we're getting 2 third-round picks for Thomas. So Robertson, still listed as an other at 22. Nah, I'm not a fan of that. So we're going to look for draft picks for Thomas, which again, over the past season, you know, keeping Thomas instead of getting rid of him looks like a mistake. Not getting rid of Carl Grundstrom at the draft looks like a mistake, and I could admit to that. Hindsight is, of course, 2020. So 2 third-round picks from Boston. I don't want to send him to another Western team. So we're looking at Boston, New York, Toronto. I mean, I assume Mestra's terrible, but there's really no reason to not take that deal for either Mestra or for Mikkola, who is signed. Problem is, I'm trying to think, okay, how many forwards are, short are we? But you know what? I think we'll take that deal from the Leafs. We'll be able to see how good that prospect is, and that opens up a roster spot as well. So we are going to deal Akil Thomas to the Toronto Maple Leafs for 2 third-round picks. Not the return I envisioned having for him not all that long ago. But it's done. And then we move over to the other forwards. And we're going to look at Kaliyev and Gabe Velardi. Unfortunately, like I said, Kopitar is going to hang around for now. This team's going to continue to change, but too many cooks in the kitchen right now. A second, third, and Kulak. A first, a third, and Plekhanov from Colorado is the best one thus far. I mean, obviously, a first-round pick is huge. Lassie Thompson and 2 thirds might not be that bad to get another defenseman in the system. We don't know how good Wallin and Zharkov are. I think, despite the fact I don't want to send Velardi to another Western Conference team, picking up a first-round pick is too much to pass up on. It really is. I mean, 2 seconds from Washington and Lucas Johansson might be decent. We don't know how good Zharkov and Wallin are, or Lassie Thompson for that matter. It's just too good to pass up. We have to take that first-rounder. So we're going to send Gabe Velardi to the Colorado Avalanche for 2 picks and a prospect who is already under contract, but he'll fill in the AHL. Gabe Velardi is on the way out. And unfortunately, Kaliyev's going to be the other man on the outs right now. Not how I envision this going. But the good thing is about this roster, with the likes of Van Kadishin, with the likes of Powell, the other draft picks that we still have, we're going to be okay, is my presumption. So 2 seconds in Koivunen, 2 seconds. Right now, again, we're looking at draft picks above all else, I would say, as the most important return, as opposed to getting another prospect who might be a little bit lower in their development. So a first from Washington. It's got to be Washington. Yeah, it's Washington again. A first, a third, and Mikkola. It's got to be Washington for Kaliyev. Let's do it. Let's do it. So with that, the 3 forwards we have to get rid of are gone. Ultimately, though, it's not the 3 I imagined with Thomas, Velarde, and Kaliyev, but it's just the way that it worked out. So now our team is Turcotte, Grundstrom, Kopitar, Anderson, Dolny, Afalo, Kupari, Genther, Lafamadio, Wagner, and then we will be calling up Madden and Savoy. And I'm not sure who the healthy scratch is going to be, but we'll obviously figure that out pretty soon. And hopefully the risk with Tyler Madden is correct. Otherwise, I could have sent Madden down and still kept Kaliyev or Velardi or Thomas for that matter. But I have a feeling with him, it's a matter of like, okay, you know, if you're going to get anything out of this guy, and of course he was signed in real life too recently, if you're going to get anything out of this guy, it's got to be right now. Kind of a similar situation that Thomas was in last year. So overall, we still have a decent amount of players there, and then defensively, that looks fine. Did we make the right choices? That is, of course, the question. As always, in terms of player types, I'm going to have to take a look around. But just to look here, Kupari can be a third liner. Anderson Dolan, Iafallo can be a third liner. Kopitar and Grundstrom can't be any lower than they are. So the question is, in terms of centers, I mean, Turcotte can play center, Kopitar can play center. Anderson Dolan can play center, as can Kupari. We got a lot of options. Honestly, I think even something like Anderson Dolan on the top line with Grundstrom and Turcotte, and then we have Kopitar leading the two young players, and then that third line of Iafallo, Madden, and Kupari could end up being pretty sick. Although, boy, none of them are really a good fit. Kopitar has to play on the second line or the first line. Savoy's not that much better of a fit on that third line. Although Kupari's a much better fit on the second. And then McGinther, again, just some of the player type combos aren't a great fit, but we can see with player types if it, you know, will kind of sort itself out. But it's looking like our best option. And again, I like Matt Roy a lot, but I want to see what we have with Jake Sanderson to start the season. And again, our top four is pretty much set. I mean, anything like that should be fine, unless we don't want the two younger options there. So the big question now, obviously I'm going to, you know, take a look at that and try to set things up best I can. Just looking down in the AHL for the moment. Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to move people around. Justice is there. We're obviously going to have some people scratched that I'd prefer not to have scratched, but that's okay. The big question now, before we start this season, is what's up with Carter Hart? And can we get him signed? If we look at our expiring deals, Kopitar, Clegg, Amadio, Anderson, so not too many major deals to work with. Hart wants to re-sign, which is tremendous news, but he only wants a 2-year deal. I could try to bump it up to 3, and I'm going to have to, but boy, his pay goes up by nearly an extra $900K. Not that we can't afford it, but if we can get Carter Hart for 3 years at $6,275, it's worth it. And again, he's an RFA, so we don't yet have to worry about no movements or no trade clauses. But we need to see if we can get him signed, and then that'll sort out the goalie situation, at least in the meantime. But then, you know, if we have a hunch that he might not sign or he might not, you know, be doing that well, we can move on from him. So let's take a look here. Season opener against Winnipeg. Carter Hart does re-sign, so that's great news for us. We're listed as hopefuls. So again, here, let's actually go back to the roster view because I'm going to have to try to optimize these lines as best I can and hope that we made the right choices today. But goalie-wise, we're set with Hart and Gleboff. And if we start to lose faith in Carter Hart, I mean, we can, you know, we're going to have to make a decision because Gleboff is eventually going to be a starter. So we'll see. This is a very, very big season for Carter Hart. Defensively, yeah, the theory of getting another top 4 defenseman is there. And if Sanderson can't hold it down and Roy can't do that well, and we're pushing for the playoffs, then yeah, much like we picked up Colton Parayko last year, we can go out and get another guy. And then forward-wise, I mean, again, Grundstrom's still here. Is that for the best? I don't know. We probably should have traded him, but now he's here because of it. Kopitar, still here. Could be traded closer to the deadline. You know, again, we'll double check with these two in particular the closer to the deadline we get. And if someone like Anderson Dolan's having a rough year, or Kupari, I mean, this is the time. You know, it's time for these guys to start proving themselves because, again, our top line for the future is set. it's Turcotte, Genther, Savoy. I mean, Turcotte can take draws, so he is the center on that line. So between Grundstrom, Anderson, Dolan, Iafallo, Kapari, I mean, that's 4 people already battling for just, the 3 second line spots. And obviously the 3rd and 4th line, we can, it's a combination of who might be able to work there out of the players that we've picked up. So it's going to sort itself out eventually. It's just a matter of who ends up staying and who ends up leaving. And as it is, I mean, again, this team you continue to see the twists and turns that this team has taken. So again, unfortunately, just due to offers, Kaliyev gone, Velardi gone, Akil Thomas gone, as was our 2nd round pick and an extra 4th as punishment for not paying attention in the last episode. But we are still set up incredibly well for the future and incredibly well for the present, in my opinion. And then again, you look now at the draft pick situation. We don't have a 2nd, but we own half the 3rd round. We have Washington's pick as well. And then next year we have Colorado's pick. So we're looking good. Now, in terms of goals for the season, you'll have one more chance to give your suggestions. But what a lot of people were saying is have it be based off of the rookies this year. And say, okay, basically, from what I can gather, the challenge is probably going to be hey, how many rookies can we have in the top 10 for scoring? Which would obviously factor into Genther, Savoy, and I'm pretty sure Madden would still factor in too. Because obviously Jake Sanderson's not going to be up there. But I agree, something based off of Genther and Savoy is a good idea. But you have another chance to give your suggestions on what you think. But ultimately, this is a combination of what the team's going to look like. That top 9 is set. Again, Thomas, Velardi, and Kaliyev gone. Grundstrom, Kopitar, they stay for now due to the lack of trade offers. So again, did we make the right choices throughout this entire postseason or offseason? I don't know, but it's what we ended up with. I'll see you guys in the next one where we will sim the season and see how it all plays out. But Genther and Savoy are here. Again, I am sure you will let me know down in the comments how you feel about everything that's happened. Of course, check out everything in the description while you're there. It's close enough. And shout out to my patrons on Patreon. I will see you all next time. Oh, Carl Grundstrom, please have a good season.